Chris, back on the horse after the international break with a good win over the Blues on Friday. How important was that?
Yeah, it was hugely important that we got a good result against the Blues. Our run into the playoffs was hinged on that game, and as it does for every game from now on in. What was really positive about that is we got the result we needed. We're still alive. We've still got a hope for the playoffs, and we're pushing hard for that. So, really pleasing.
And no real injuries?
No, not at this stage. No, there's a few dings. Obviously, the Blues were pretty physical in some of the facets of the game, so we've taken the regular sort of dings, but no, nothing too major.
This one now, Glasgow away, given the relative positions of the two teams in the table and the games in hand, would you say this is almost like a season-defining game?
Yeah, and I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? Really, we get the result, we keep moving forward. They get the result, they're a step closer. So it is a pretty big moment for us, a pretty big game, and we are preparing for a hell of a battle.
You lost to them at home. What did you learn from that game?
Well, we were in that game for 65 minutes of it, and again, just some of our errors, some of our mistakes, let them in and they capitalised. So we had a pretty healthy lead, we were doing some things really well, but again, we just took our foot off the throat and we paid the price pretty heavily. So, they're a team that'll hurt you, and they'll keep playing for 80 minutes. So again, we've just got to make sure that we keep our concentration, keep our focus, and again, just make sure we play how we train.
It's not impossible to win at Scotstoun, as the Blues have shown in Heineken and the Dragons in the Rabo. So what can you take from those two victories?
Well, I think what you said, first of all, that they are beatable. They are a pretty formidable side at home. Let's put that out there. I think the key thing is that we're a good side. We play good footy, and if we just do, again, we execute what we train, we'll be in there. But we can't go up there with a mindset that it's going to be all over in 40 minutes. It's going to go right down to the wire. It's an 80-minute game, and that's how we're preparing.
Do you have a target in mind of points that you need to get before the end of the season to make that top four?
No, we haven't really looked too far forward. I mean, every game at the moment is presenting opportunity, and if we get the results that we want each week, we keep moving forward, and that's, as you said, it's a pretty big moment for us in terms of defining our season. So that's all we've looked at. We haven't really looked at too much else. We know that we've got the game once, if we get going, that will put teams under a bit of pressure and be competitive. So, that's all we're focusing on.
It's been a pretty torrid season for Welsh rugby, one way or the other, on and off the field, it's fair to say. But Ospreys have the chance now of getting into those playoffs, at least a silver lining there. How much do you feel that you're having to represent and carry the burden on your shoulders of Wales in Welsh rugby?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion in the media about, I guess, the woes of Welsh rugby at the moment. But, the Ospreys are, you can say that we are flying the flag for the regions. Again, there's a lot of defining factors in there, and again, there's no secret that, playing rosters, salary caps, all of those sorts of things, we're against it a little bit. So it's important for us, it's important for Welsh rugby, but, as Ospreys, again, we've got a chance to keep moving our season forward and keep adding to the rich history that we've got in terms of playoffs. So, we're excited. This is what the boys train for and prepare for all year. So, bring it on, really.
Just a couple of questions around the game generally. Hopefully Europe will be settled this week. How much of a relief is that?
Yeah, I mean, I've only really heard whispers of what's floating around, and nothing's been formally signed off. What I have heard, and what has been discussed, is something that was proposed 6 months ago. So, I just think for everybody involved in the game, it would be really nice to be able to put this to bed and get our season and get our heads into Europe and know that we're there. But again, it's just a matter of time now, and the guys who are, the powers to be who are making the decisions, I'm sure will get it right.
And with that qualification criteria, improve the Pro12, I suppose it has to, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think again, if it's what's been bandied around is what happens, it's massively exciting, and as you say, it brings a real competitive nature and a real sort of genuine need to the Pro12, and teams that are outside the playoffs have got something to hold on to, and I think that's really important. It'll bring that real strength to the competition.
One other interesting factor this week with the Ospreys is the loss to Bristol at the end of the season of Ryan Jones, who's been, well, not only a Welsh rugby great, but certainly an Ospreys great as well. A word for that?
Yeah, I think it's always a tough time when a club loses a guy of the calibre of Ryan Jones, and he's been an Osprey for a long time, and like you say, the Welsh legend, and from a club, he's going to leave a bit of a hole. The situations are that he's got a year left on his contract with us. There's an opportunity for him to further his career somewhere else, and I guess secure some money for his family too. So we just couldn't compete with that, and he goes with our best wishes and our best blessings. He's been a hell of an Osprey, but he's still got a job to do here, and he's focused on making sure that his final time with the Ospreys and in the jersey is around the playoffs. So yeah, he's going to be a big hole, but again, that's just the way pro sport is, isn't it?
Can you say about the financial implications there of what Bristol were able to do for Ryan, which probably the Ospreys would? We saw the derby that the Blues and Ospreys in front of 8,500 people. The London derby had 80,000 at Wembley. Just still, how difficult is it trying to compete with the likes of the English and the French clubs?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can sit and go on about it all day. I guess it's not really a level playing field, is it? That's pretty clear and obvious. There's challenges in everything you do in life, I guess, and it's just the way you go about looking at it. And within our organisation and Ospreys, we are very clear about where we are. We know that we're going to have to punch above our weight week in, week out. But that's what is at the forefront of our character as Ospreys and as Ospreys men. So it's just how it is. And sure, it would be nice to be able to have the same sorts of budgets, but that's not life for us. So we just crack on and get on with it.
I suppose there's no better way than to get the bums on seats than to have some success, get to those playoffs, hopefully win the title again.
That's what it's about, isn't it? Everybody likes being around and being associated with teams that win and people who are winners. So, that's really important for us as an organisation, that we keep doing that, draw people back to the game, and it's just important. It's just awesome to, when you're a player and as a coach, when you're playing in front of a full stand, it's just what it's about, really. So hopefully we can, over the next little period of this next few weeks, we can bring some of that back to the stadium and to the fans.
And finally, personal one to you. You seem like to have been part of the furniture forever, even though you haven't been here that long. Give a self-assessment of how you're enjoying it and how you're progressing at the Ospreys personally.
Oh, I love it. The reason that I came here is because the club is a massively competitive club within not only Europe but also in the Celtic League, and the opportunity that was presented to me has played out, and I'm learning every day. I'm being associated with with the players and learning from them. They're hopefully picking a couple of things up from me. I love it. I love being here, and really comfortable to make this my home for the next wee while if they'll have me. So enjoying it.
Lovely. Thanks, Chris.
Chris, do you sense a determination in the camp when you see this tournament, given so many players leaving?
Yeah. So definitely, mate. We're determined, all right. With so many players leaving, that's just part of the story. For us, it's about when we set a goal at the beginning of the season, we really want to be in the playoffs. We expect to be in the playoffs as a team, and so we try to prepare for that every week. So we're determined, all right. And again, it's just like I said before, it's going to define our season really.
And how do you assess Glasgow's strengths?
Yeah, they're a very combative side. Again, they fill the field pretty well defensively. They've got an aggressive forward pack. They've got good variation in their attack. So again, they're a pretty good side. So again, we're going to have to be on our money and be ready for what will be a massive battle.
How dangerous is Matawao?
Well, I think you saw in the weekend against the Scarlets, if you've watched that, he can cut you up from anywhere. So, mate, he's pretty dangerous. But, again, it's just we've got to back our systems. We've got a pretty good D system, and again, we've just got to have to make sure that we make our one-on-one tackles, do the basic things really well, and just stay in the fight for 80 minutes, really.
Yeah. How do you combat him? Do you double mark him?
Oh, that'd be talent, wouldn't it, mate? I can't give you that. Again, it's just a matter of how much ball he gets and, how easily he gets that ball. If you give him plenty of time on the ball, he can hurt you. So again, it's just a matter of how we go about that tactically, shutting his spaces down.
Yeah, I guess you consider you got threats as well.
Yeah, definitely.
How difficult is it going to be to replace like Ryan, Ian Evans, Hillard?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, there's some holes there for sure, but, that's a challenge that the organisation are well aware of, and as a team and as a coaching group we're well aware of, and we are backing our resources and backing our systems to get the next level of guys up to speed. Now, it's really hard to replace the experience that the guys like Jug and like the guys you mentioned that they bring. You can't replace that overnight, but what we've got to do is we've got to break the game down so it's easier enough for the boys to understand, and then just give them plenty of opportunity, and that's how you gain experience.
Yeah. How do you sort of assess the potential of Sam Lewis, Dan Baker, people like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're the next Ospreys, aren't they, really? So, I think we're pretty lucky to be in the situation where we've got genuinely good depth coming through, albeit very young, but the boys can play the game, there's no doubt about it. So again, it's just about the challenge for us as a coaching group is how we mould that.
Yeah. You used Sam with Tipperary against the Blues.
Yep.
Do you think that went well?
Yeah, well, I think what both of those guys give you is speed around the breakdown, and at the moment Sam's playing very well, and he's forced his way into the team, which is it's what a hell of a challenge to have as a coach. So no, he deserves his spot, and I think both playing those guys together gives us a different dynamic, which is what we're looking for.